Alright, let me check that again. So it does show up. Alright, good. I wanted to make sure that showed up before anything else. Alright, what's up, people? How's it going? We got 6 viewers already in the chat. And now we are all set up. And sorry that took a bit. What's up, Red Dragon? Alright, and let's see. Cool, so you guys are showing up. Goggles is there. I can see him in the chat box area. We've got everything clear, set in stone. And we are set to go. So, the topic of this afternoon, I guess, for some of y'all, for those living in the Pacific Coast, I guess it'd be morning still. So good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever the hell time it is. This ought to be spicy. Oh, it's Mr. X. I actually know you from Twitter. Mr. X on Twitter. What's up? How's it going? And I'm not... It's going to be something. Let's just say that. It's going to be something. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but obviously I've been on the Pokepod for years. And obviously when Pokemon Journeys came out... There we go. When Pokemon Journeys came out, LeBron James streaming LeBron James. Obviously when Pokemon Go came out, Pokemon Journeys came out, we did reviews on it. KG, me, TSS, and then usually we'll have like Nessa, Polly, Richie on occasions. We'll have the occasional guest come in and talk about the show, and then we have Emmy now, who is a new addition. And we always would come up and give our thoughts and feelings on it. KG took it a step further by doing the reaction videos so that he can get the fans' views on it. So if you're a fan of the show and you watch it on a weekly basis, or just watch it with him, or watch it to hear us commentate over it, then you usually wind up getting your fill of Journeys from there. Or you show up on Monday at 9 p.m. Central every Monday and watch the Pokepod to see what we have to say on the matter about the episode that happened that week. And you notice a lot, like I talk about Go during Go's episodes, but I never really broke down his character. I've never really stopped to sit down and take some time to talk about Go as a character. No one really knows how I feel about him as a whole because he's the newest one, along with Koharu. And I wanted the shows to have some breathing room. What NBA player do you consider yourself? I don't know. I don't basketball. I don't sports. So that's not my category. That's someone else's. Anyway, so topic at hand. No one really knows how I feel about this character because I haven't really given a synopsis of how I feel about him, strictly due to the fact that this character hasn't been in my head amazingly. I don't I hope your day's going well. Hey Coro, how's it going? So overall, I've never really taken the time because I'm like, okay, at the time that Go came out, the series was still new. Journeys was still new. We didn't have enough episodes for me to sit and break his stuff down. We are now, as of right now, and let me make sure I check this for accuracy purposes because I don't want to F up on the accuracy. With Pokemon Journeys, at least, we are about 111 episodes in, or at least that's what this thing says. So I'm not sure if that's correct. We're about 111 episodes in, if my calculations are correct. Not counting the Arceus episode. So not counting the Arceus special, the little Amazon Arceus special. We are, Go is a very unique individual to say the least. What's up, Cosmic? So we're at 111 episodes now. Go has had plenty of time to be a character, at least. And obviously we're on the more latter half of the series. Go and Koharu just kind of there for me. And that's exactly what I'm about to get into, Mr. X. You're actually ahead of me. But obviously, I will go through the steps necessary to talk about it. The latter is in school way too much to really think about her, and Go is harmless, but the nature of the goal throws off what we as the fans are used to. Oh, and Coral Blitz already coming in. with the motherfucking tier 1 gift subs. So let's just go there. Hell yeah. Let's go, Kuro. But, to break it down, let's... Oh, that was Cosmic. I'm sorry. Cosmic gave Kuro the gift tiers. Let's go, Cosmic. Hell yeah. Thank you, Cosmic. I don't know why my buttons are acting weird. There we go. But thank you, Cosmic. I appreciate it. Let's try it again. There we are. Now we got it. Kuro's a true champ. He advertised the stream on the server. He did. I saw it. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you all for coming by to watch it. I announced this 3 days ahead of time, and then I announced it a week before on the Pokepod too. So I made plenty of advertisements about this one. And the reason I advertised this, yeah, I did that one on purpose. The reason I advertised this specific video so much and this like stream is because I really wanted to get the chat's view and my views out there on who Go is, what his character is, and I'm hoping some people can, like, if there are people who disagree, I'm hoping they step up and talk, because I've noticed that not just during the pod, but on Twitter as well, Go has been a very controversial. Your thoughts on the Legend of Arceus new anime episode? What? Oh, the Hisuian Snow thing. I didn't watch it yet. I'm waiting to watch that later with the others. Anyway, back on topic yet again. So to break down what the topic is at hand, and I'm gonna stress this even more so. We're talking about Go's character in Pokemon Journeys. So let's try our best not to deviate from that topic. To talk about Go's character, how it is and how it's displayed. We kind of got to start from the very beginning, because the only way to properly orchestrate the context is to know where he's coming from. And obviously, when he's introduced, before Journeys even starts, technically, we get like a picture of what he looks like. We get a small picture introducing him into the series, much like basically the concept art for the character at first, and then obviously we jump into the series with trailers. We don't really know much about him outside of what we're given, which is, one, we didn't even know what his gender was for a while. We always thought that Go was a girl. We thought it was a boy. We thought Pokemon was dipping their toes into the whole LGBTQ community thing by making Go a non-binary. It was all sorts of madness. It was straight up madness. Until the show finally buckled down and went he. They referenced Go as a he. They've been referencing Go as a dude this whole time. Go as a boy. He's a male. That is set in stone. I'm sure there's an entire community of people on the internet that are going to attack me just for that sentence alone. And we'll save that part of the conversation for later. So make sure to keep it saved and put it in another folder for later. But obviously, then Go introduces himself as his character in episode 1/2-ish. Whatever you want to count his introduction episode as, because it's kind of vague on whether or not Go is in the first episode or the second. Because some people count the Pikachu episode as episode 0 of Pokemon Journeys. Some people count it as episode 1. I personally count it as episode 0. Because I don't see how, but as of that moment, I don't see how Pikachu / when he was a Pichu, I don't see how that backstory does anything for the Journey story. It just sort of happens. It doesn't really feel like it has anything to do with Journeys in general. I think you see Go in there along with Ash, but very little of it happens. And it's mostly due to the fact that Go and Koharu are going to a summer camp with Pokemon, and Ash wakes up late and doesn't get to meet up with the others because of it. That's pretty much the gist of what we got going on. And from there, even your introduction you get there is that he's very knowledgeable about how Pokemon are, but he's a know-it-all. He's a lot like Max in that sense. But he doesn't care about the approval or validation of others. So Koharu points him out on this, only for him to go, I don't care if I have friends. The only thing that matters is Pokemon. And then we get introduced to him officially in the first episode of Journeys, aka the second episode if you want to put a number on it, where Go is introduced and wants to make it a goal to capture every Pokemon. And that obviously would lead him to Mew. And the raid battle starts and he wants to get Lugia. But then when we see him much later in the series, he is, well, not later, much later. I mean, when we see him later in the sense that he meets Scorbunny, the episode where he meets his starter Pokemon, Scorbunny, he denies Scorbunny the chance of being on his team because he says that he wants his Pokemon to be Mew, despite the fact that he was going to catch Lugia literally in episode 1. So, what, was he fine having a Lugia as his starter Pokemon and a Mew, but wasn't okay with having a fucking Scorbunny? Like, I'm not sure what exactly the point of that was. He denies Scorbunny because he says he wants Mew to be his first Pokemon, which is a incredibly bold and shitty, silly claim. But at the same time, he goes out of his way to try to capture Lugia, which is what led him to his fight with Ash. But bygones be bygones. We move forward, and Go just wanted to see Lugia. Again, I'm not sure what the point of that would have been. Even then, his goal, and that's where we come to the meat of this problem. Go's goal is to want to capture every Pokemon. Now, I get it. Like, the mobile game Pokemon Go, it came out at this point. Or it has already been out, but now it's finally being advertised. And honestly, the idea of someone who goes through the element of capturing a Pokemon is in and of itself interesting. The reason it's interesting is because in Pokemon, you do two major things in Pokemon. Like, yeah, we've added bits and pieces of other little mini games here and there as the games have gone forward. But Pokemon at its core, what's up, Charizard? Pokemon at its core has been you battle Pokemon and capture other Pokemon to battle Pokemon. Those are the two main aspects. The biggest appeal of Pokemon is that you use Pokemon for battle, JRPG style, with elements, stats, and whatnot. And you capture Pokemon to add to your team. So rather than most RPGs where you have to recruit a party member via side quest or talking with them, or recruit them because they're part of the story and homegirl wants to avenge her dead brother, so the only way to do it is to fight the same villain that you're on a journey to travel, and thus she'll use her medic powers in order to join your squad. Those are the only two varying ways. Whereas in this JRPG, it's completely different. You create your team members. The way that your team is being made is that, ironically, Lugia was Mew in disguise. Yeah. You create your team members by capturing them. So the idea of capturing Pokemon has always been a staple. And for the marketing execs, this is a plus because it gives them money. The whole appeal. Gotta catch them all. It's why America made it its slogan for most of the games all the way up until about Gen 5. The whole, until about Gen 4, Gen 5. I think actually Gen 3 probably ended. One of the two. The point I'm trying to say is that in most Pokemon cases, or the box art, when you see it, in America, you would see it accompanied by the words, gotta catch 'em all, and an ARC format under the Pokemon logo. Gen 4 is when it got dropped. Exactly. The point being, though, the very point being was the appeal. The appeal being capturing all the Pokemon. Now, obviously, on the outside standpoint, it makes Pokemon seem more like collectibles rather than friends and companionships and teammates that you get. Now, the ideal utopian world is once you capture every Pokemon, you take care of it as if it were your own child or a pet. Which, ideally, is the way to go. But there's well more than 150 of these things as of Gen 1. And then when we move forward, the number increases by almost 100 every year. Or every time, every game, every generation. So reasonably, you can't be expected to capture every Pokemon. And Go is coming into this series wanting to capture every Pokemon with an incredible roster of over 902, if I'm not mistaken. How many? I guess we can count Ultra Beast. Yeah, I would count Ultra Beast, and then you got legendaries. How many Pokemon exist. Currently, there's about 908 Pokemon as of right now. So you can't reasonably and idealistically expect Go to capture every last one. There's almost 1,000 now. Plus, legendaries are muddy water considering how important they are to the balance of the world. And I was just about to get into that too, Mr. X. I want to say around the time, I want to say that people didn't really think about the concept of catching them all at all in the anime wise, or at least didn't pay it much attention until about 2 major events happened in the anime. And I'm going to point them out right now. When Pokemon got introduced in the anime, Ash says a bold claim that he wants to capture and capture all the Pokemon of the world. Yeah, like he even says it when he's watching TV, to the Pokemon of the world. And then he's like, that is mine. And then his mom busts in. He's like, Ash, get to bed. It's way past fucking 10 o'clock or whatever. Like, yeah, like Ash already makes it a goal to capture every Pokemon. In America, we're introduced to the slogan, gotta catch them all. In Japan, they do sort of advertise, or at least nudge at the idea that you should capture a bunch of Pokemon by saying Pokemon Getto. The idea is there. And at this point, this is when the idea was kind of feasible still. After that, Ash makes a bold claim to a bunch of Spearows that can't speak fucking English that he's gonna capture and defeat them all. I don't know why he says it. He doesn't capture a single one. The point being is, though, the idea is being pushed that a person who's a Pokemon trainer has these Pokeballs that allow them to capture Pokemon, and thus they should, in theory, capture every Pokemon, or at least try to. It's not until later that we learn that the Pokemon League exists, and you need to collect badges in order to compete in a giant tournament called the Pokemon League. And this is where we get our second appeal, the battle aspect, the main plot. After this, we later on see an episode that I find kind of interesting, which is Bill's Lighthouse. I can't remember what the exact episode's called. Like, the Mysterious Lighthouse or whatever. The point is, it's Ash, Brock, and Misty going up to the lighthouse, and they actually make a synopsis of Ash for a little bit. I actually like these episodes because they've done it more than once. They break down Ash. Brock and Misty sit around and talk about Ash while he's discussing his Pokemon journey progression so far. And he points out that he has 6 Pokemon, right? And Brock and Misty point out that most trainers up to this point, you have 2 badges. Most trainers at this point in the journey have about 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 Pokemon at this point. And even his team goes in and chips in a little bit. Ash's Pokemon chip in a little bit on this conversation, which I think is pretty cute and funny. Pikachu, you get Pikachu, Butterfree, Pidgeotto, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle. This is one of the few times you see the whole goddamn team together, by the way. And they do like a nod their head situation. And even when Brock and Misty call Ash out on his bullshit, like him saying that he beat Misty and Brock based on skill alone and not them giving out the badges, the Pokemon will nod their heads, nah fam, you didn't do that. This is going to relate back to Go in a second, don't worry. When they point out his progress, he talks to Professor Oak, and Professor Oak says that Gary's caught well over 20 Pokemon at this point, and Ash says he's only caught 7, because by this time he caught Krabby, so he has 7 Pokemon, and he finally discovers that they be sent to the computer at this point too. And I find it interesting that all of this lore of the mechanics of a Pokemon trainer are broken down in this random-ass Dragonite episode. But the reason that is important is because then, as we go further, viewers of the show, as well as Ash, started to come to a realization as to the handlement of Pokemon. Gary is proven to be the Pokemon trainer that caught a lot of Pokemon. He's better than Ash. Professor Oak blatantly points it out. Ash, on the other hand, is shown to have 7 Pokemon and thus by proxy is lesser. However, we start to realize things shortly after this episode. Ash trades his Butterfree away, but it has regrets, so he takes it back. Only for him to release it some episodes later. But that's so that it can be happy. Ash winds up evolving certain Pokemon when they're happy with him. He tries to release Pikachu, but it comes back because Pikachu prefers him. He literally has all of his Pokemon try to stay in their Pokeballs while he's trapped in the snow, but instead they all come out at once and huddle him so that he doesn't die in the snow alone. It's the unity aspect. We cut fast forward a couple episodes later when Ash finally has most of his badges, and we see an episode that I always reference and I find very interesting as well. Another breakdown of how a trainer's journey goes. We cut back and we see that Professor Oak has analyzed both Ash and Gary's Pokedexes. When he does this, Professor Oak states that Gary's caught well over 100 Pokemon at this point. He hasn't seen 100, he just caught 100, which means he more than likely caught duplicates. Gary's seen about 60 Pokemon up to this point. Ash, on the other hand, has seen well over 100. His Pokedex counts has seen more, while Gary has caught more. Gary's caught well over 60 Pokemon, and they're all sitting in Professor Oak's lab. We don't get to see any of them, but they're all sitting in little Pokeballs on the top shelf, just sort of chilling there. Ash then retorts. Gary says, you always whip out your Pokedex when you see a new Pokemon. I throw the Pokeball first and ask the questions later. That's the exact quote that he says. Ash goes, well, you caught more Pokemon than me, but I bet you none of them are your friends. Gary smirks. He says, friends? And then just sort of sighs it off as if it's not an important aspect. We see this later be exemplified during Ash's relationship with Paul. Don't worry, we're coming back to Go. I'm getting to him. Trust me, it's a long tangent. This stream is going to be long because I talk a lot, so just bear with it. But, what does this mean? Well, to the audience, what this means is the very concept of what Go's character revolves around and the crux and issue that most viewers have with his character. The quantity aspect. Go's goal is to catch every Pokemon. Now, this idea has been played with in the Pokemon manga, where Chris's goal was to help Professor Oak complete his Pokedex. But the goal was tangible. The Pokedex in the anime works a lot differently than in the manga and the video games. In the video games, if you've seen a Pokemon, the most it'll tell you its name, its height, its weight, and where it's been recently. That's about it. And maybe what its footprint looks like. No, that's only after you catch it. Sorry, that's a lie. So, your goal to complete the Pokedex there usually becomes you capture this, and suddenly your Pokedex has all its information it needs on it. I don't fucking know. The point is, once you capture it, then you can see tangible progress. Chris captures Pokemon to register in the Pokedex, to help Professor Oak gain knowledge on each Pokemon that's captured. The only reason Professor Oak's going to know more about these Pokemon is because Chris is going out of her way to capture them, and thus when she captures them, their data gets collected. The Pokedex in the anime works differently. It already has the information. It knows everything about a Pokemon already. The minute Ash, Go, or any character points at their Pokedex towards the Pokemon, it'll go, Bing, Seviper, the snake Pokemon. Its poisonous fangs are harmful, and it fights with Zangoose. Like, it'll do that. It just does that. It knows it has the information. All it simply needs to do is scan the Pokemon up front, or you mention its name, or type it in. And it already has 100% collected data. So, that goal is out. We can't equate Go to that because catching the Pokemon at this point shows nothing more than he's registered them in the Dex as a number. He's checked them off. Now, some people retort by saying that Go has meaningful relationships with his Pokemon. And he does, when the show needs him to, at the time. But going back to that Ash and Gary issue that I pointed out much earlier, it's hard to have your character gain bonds with a plethora of characters. I'll say that again. It's hard to have your character gain bond with a plethora of characters at once. Most of the bonds that happen with Ash or any of the other characters have always been slow burns. Things that start off with some initial conflict or interaction or gather that then later get accompanied by growth, development, time. All of these things are important. And unfortunately, the only Pokemon that Go spends the most time with are the Galarian starters, Inteleon, Cinderace, and Grookey respectfully. And that's only to advertise Sword and Shield. So, you think to yourself, well, that's fair. He can't take care of every Pokemon at once, and not every Pokemon needs the spotlight. But how does this relate to his journey to capture every Pokemon, and how does him catching every Pokemon help? How do we as the audience get it fully invested? If we rewind back to Ash's plight, the reason that Ash is such an invested character is because we see his progress all the way through. He learns about the Pokemon League. He learns about the gyms. He learns that you need to collect badges from the gyms in order to compete in the Pokemon League. And when you compete in the Pokemon League, it's because you gain badges from all 8 gym leaders. And that way, every time Ash goes to a new gym and battle the gym leader and become victorious, and he posts that badge up that's like, I won the whatever badge. We see it though. We canonically see his progress all the way through. It is a formula that's been so indented into us as viewers that no matter what situation you put him in, if we know that he's gone through something, that iconic victory pose gives us an idea that he's gone through a trial, he's accomplished something, and he's that much closer. And Go does it too. He'll say like Caterpie Ghetto, like he caught the Caterpie or whatever. I caught Caterpie. Like he'll do that. He will. So it's not absent. He has a level of progression that shows you that he caught said thing in order to advance said thing. The problem is that Pokemon doesn't have a set destination of when he gets to a certain point within the plot. We're simply told that he caught a Pokemon, but since there's well over 908 Pokemon, the viewers can't even keep track of his progression as far as capturing Pokemon. We don't know until we have to look it up. There's never a thing that helps us out. There's something that the manga does that I really like. And the anime even did a little bit of this too. Where in the manga, if you read the Pokemon special manga, and let's say we're talking about Red or something. What the manga will often do sometimes is after you've read a chapter in the manga and you look at the back part of the chapter when the chapter's over, you'll see this little thing. Or you'll read the manga all the way to its end part of the volume and you see the back cover. What the back cover, the page before it does, is that it'll be like, here's Red. And then it'll be like, here's where he is on the Kanto map in the video games. Here's what level his Pokemon are at. And it'll show Pikachu at level 20, Bulbasaur at level, 16. Or it'll show, Poliwhirl at level 18 or something. It'll show his Pokemon. And it'll show, their levels. It'll show how many badges he's got. It'll post the badges on the side where the other ones are indented empty. It'll show his Pokedex progress. It'll be seen 48 Pokemon, caught 15 or some shit. You can see it. It keeps track. So it feels like you're part of what's going on. The manga's not going to show you every goddamn thing, but it's a nice little tracker. It keeps you idealistically invested. It allows you to know what's going on. They do this again in the anime. In the anime, I know during the Johto region, the Johto section of the anime, they started it. Where if Ash got badges, they do the ba-da-da-ba-da-boom, and then they'll show the badges he got in tangent with the episode's title card. They did it in Diamond and Pearl too, where what they'll do, and I think they did a little bit in Battle Frontiers for a bit with the AG series. What they'll do is that they'll show the badges that Ash got, and then they'll show the contest ribbons that May or Dawn got. And you get to see it. You can tangibly see where they're going. We don't get that with Go. We don't get how close he is. The only way to reasonably know how many Pokemon Go has right now is to look it up on Bulbapedia or PokeWiki or Cerebi or some website. You would have to go on some website and look it up. There's no way for us to know. They did it in advanced generations, including where he won the Hoenn map, where he was on the Hoenn map. Yeah, there we go. You get to know. Gives you an idea. Gives you a nice little pinpoint marker that lets you keep track of what's going on. We don't really get that with Go. And when it comes to Pokemon that he's gained relationships with, just so that you can be like, yeah, he at least has a team and he's getting closer to his goal. He doesn't have a solid team. He just has Pokemon that he's used more often than others. If I were to name the Pokemon that Go uses off the top of his head minus the starters, I guess it would be Raichu, Scizor, maybe Darmanitan. Not really, but yeah. Darmanitan more or less does his own actions and isn't even associated with Go to me, to be quite honest. The only time Go's used Darmanitan was in that Articuno fight and it died instantly. So yeah, you got Darmanitan, Scizor, maybe Pinsir, even though he's never used any of these in battle for real. Raichu on occasions. Shit. Pampor and Pansear a couple of times. Caterpie is the most consistent motherfucker I've ever seen in my life, and honestly, Caterpie deserves better than Go. Caterpie has been the Spider-Man of Go's Pokemon, and I love him for it. Caterpie is the only Pokemon that I've had to actually invest in. Dugong, Aerodactyl, Flygon. Yeah, there we go. Go uses them on situations. Oh, and then the Cubone. There's some Pokemon where, and let me break this down too. And I'm glad you guys pointed that out as well too. And I'll read some of these comments in a second. There's some, and like I said, the audience, usually when I put these huge criticisms on Go, a lot of people make the argument, well, Go can't reasonably hang out with all of his Pokemon, and the show, what it does is that it cuts to those Pokemon on occasions and we see little moments of them acting. I mean, that would be very fine set in stone, and I don't reasonably expect Go to hang out with every last Pokemon. Hell, there have been situations where Ash has caught more than 6 Pokemon, and he doesn't reasonably hang out with them all equally, but when they're on screen, they do mean something because he's had moments with them. Or to the very least, they contribute something enough for me to be fully invested in, whereas there's some Pokemon I completely forgot that Go even caught, until either A, I see them on screen, or somebody says, hey, what about Go's Poliwag? And I'm like, he caught a Poliwag? Holy shit. Yeah, and that usually boils down to things like, things such as the episodes that they're introduced. It's very clear that Go can catch a Pokemon haphazardly. Like, normally the episode's plot will be going in one direction, Go sees a Pokemon on the way to the plot and captures the Pokemon. Some of these are comfortable transitions to capturing Pokemon. Others feel about as awkward as walking in on somebody taking a shit in the library. Like, on the table of the library, not the bathroom. It's quiet and awkward and it just sort of happens and we have to just sort of roll with it. But, visual shits aside, there's episodes that obviously show that certain Pokemon should, in theory, have better story and context to them. Cubone's brought up a lot. Why? Because Cubone was in an episode that was very close to Go. Go spent exclusive time hanging out with Cubone. So, by that logic, Cubone should have a viable amount of screen time. A viable amount of usage. But it doesn't. Scyther. Out of all the bug Pokemon that Go winds up catching, Scyther's the one that gives him the worst time. He's the hardest to catch. He's the challenge. So by logic, that means he should probably be the one that sticks with Go's team consecutively. He's not. Why is that? Aerodactyl, a big Pokemon that Go hangs out, that had a huge level of depth and character development with. Aerodactyl gets a couple of episodes to be Go's flying Pokemon, and that's it. Flygon, a major Go character development episode. Does he get used outside of the occasional flying moments? No. He doesn't get a chance to witness Raihan's Flygon fight so that it could probably get stronger. It doesn't get a chance to be in a flying race to prove its speed. It's not used in a situation where Go gets lost in like a desert and has to utilize its wings. It doesn't have to protect like these baby Trapinches because it was one itself, so we get like this development of what it used to be. It doesn't get any of that. Mantike, Stantler, Misdreavus, Greedent. Greedent actually did get a pretty decent episode when it was a Squavit and then evolved into Greedent. But once its usefulness ended, it ended. It doesn't even show up in the episode after to eat a bunch of food like Ash and Go were doing, which would have been a nice touch. Is it necessary for the plot of that episode? No, but it gives them something to do and it allows us to fully absorb. Sometimes the Pokemon doesn't have to have its own episode in order to gain some level of character development. When Ash winds up hatching Noibat, clearly the episode is about Noibat, but we see that Fletchinder's the one that warmed the egg. The writers of that episode could have very easily just had the egg hatch when Ash picked it up. They didn't need Fletchinder to use Flame Body, but they did it. Because they wanted to show off some character development of how Fletchinder is. How it's nurturing. How it has a nurturing-like nature, despite the fact that when the Ash first caught it, it was stealing food and shit. So this thing has come a long way. It lets you know. See, even with those two episodes that I just referenced, we have a story. We have something going. There's the cogs are turning. Here, we don't get any of that. And that's primarily the problem, is when you capture all these Pokemon, while I don't expect you to have character developed episodes for each and every last one of them, we do at least expect this character to gain some bonding with the Pokemon that he does obtain. And with that, he doesn't. Even with the Pokemon that he currently uses the most, Cinderace, Inteleon, and Grookey, he barely gains much development out of them. From what I see, they mostly just get episodes where they want to learn a move or get stronger by some way, shape, or form. Go does it, or has some level of conflict with that Pokemon. The Pokemon has a sudden personality change because it evolved, so Go has to, deal with it. Or he gets sad. Or an episode where the Pokemon's fully evolved because the episode has decided it's time to fully evolve. None of Go's fully evolved Pokemon have ever felt realized. Drizzile evolves in an episode where it was mostly missing for majority, but because the show is on a runtime and it has to do something, it needs to evolve right here, right now. Despite having one fight with a Kelkleon and just sort of calling it a day after that. There's not much really context outside of it, and Sobble made it a pretty big deal in order to want to become an Inteleon, and that was what made Sobble interesting, the goal to become an Inteleon. But when you take that goal away by making it an Inteleon, what do you do with the character? Occasional moments where its fan on its head is able to vibrate and thus allow it to track things. It being the number 2 Pokemon that Go uses for battle, because it's a fully evolved one outside of Cinderace. But that's about it. And while we talk about battles, we can transition into that as well too. One of the big things, Pokemon battles. They had an episode where Go was introduced doing a tournament in Hoenn, and he loses one of the battles and then just gets depressed about Pokemon battles. But then he winds up saying Ash battle, and he clearly sees that Ash is actually a very competent battler. What do they do with it? Nothing. They don't do a goddamn thing with it. Go is impressed by Ash's ability to battle really well. And that's it. We don't know what happens. Go just sort of roots for Ash during the fight, and we end that plot line. It's over. We never talk about it. We never reference it again. Go never has to really step up to be a battler. He battled people before, yes. He's gotten a lot better as a battler, mostly due to the fact that he's been exposed to so many and that he battles forward, but we never really see an episode about how his personality is about it. One moment he's depressed because he didn't win a Pokemon battle against Hedge, or whatever his name was, with the freaking hairstyle. But then the next moment, he's over it. Like they never really stop to lament on anything that Go's going through. And that's not even just with battles. That's just with personality in general. Go always feels like any of his trials that he has to go through mentally always feel like an afterthought. For example, Go apparently has an issue with socials. Like, he can't really get along with people that well. He drives people away. He's not here for people. He's here for Pokemon. It's one of those situations where he likes Pokemon way more than he likes people. Ian would be a perfect character to introduce to a character like Go. They are almost, I dare say it, the same goddamn character. In different contexts, yes, but Ian would definitely be an enlightening character, especially a post-Met Ash in. This is an end that now has the character development to realize that not all humans are bad, and there's actually humans that get along very well with Pokemon. So what do you do when you take a character who doesn't like people, likes Pokemon more, and introduce him to N, a character who is very much doesn't like people and likes Pokemon more, but has been introduced to Ash and has seen Ash's love and care for Pokemon? This is a beautifully interwoven plot line that can happen. But they're not going to do it because, again, Journeys doesn't like to step into those territories. It likes to bring them up. It likes to have issues where Ash and Go fought each other in like episode 2 during the Ivysaur mission. And Ash is like, you're not going to make friends like that. And Go is like, I don't care about friends. And Go also goes, oh, so you're one of those people. Or like, oh, you act like one. Oh, like, I don't care if you like me or not. And Go goes, oh, so you're one of those people. The show doesn't roll back on it. The show doesn't do anything with it. It's sort of just Go, at that point, seeing Ash be impressive because he fought Team Rocket. And Go just sort of absorbing it. His trials start like tsunamis. Calms down the closer you get. And by the time it ends, it's like it never was there. Yeah, these are great topics for Go to bring up. This isn't like I want to break down the context of the very beginning, but before I do that, let me read a lot of these because I know I have to read a lot of these. And those of Chris later on are used as rentals for trainer schools and battle facilities. Meanwhile, Journeys never plays with the Sword and Shield Poke jobs. Again, that's a big potential for them. I mean, this is just a pitch, but Go will see unique stuff and other trainers can't. Since he's traveled with Ash, so he could also create his own version of the Pokedex and create a unique entry if whoever did. Even Lavington does this in Legends of Arceus. Go has some relations with some of his Pokemon and it isn't that deep. And these minds cut away from the potential PWC training and bonding with Go's minds that actually decide to use like Cinderace, Scizor, Raichu, and Grookey. Mewtwo, the clone of his Go, asks the same question and Go replies that he wants to understand them all. Which unfortunately Acorn puts the writers in another corner. He wants to understand them all, but we never see Go understand them all. Feeding them isn't understanding them. I can feed a stray cat. That doesn't mean I fucking understand it. That just means I gave it food. And that's the only type of major interactions we get when it comes to Go and his Pokemon. Half the time I forget these Pokemon belong to Go. Now, if it had been like Go catching these Pokemon for the institution, then whatever, fine. Like they're no longer in his ownership, they belong to the institution. But no, he always makes the statement, I caught this. I got this. So under that logic, these are his Pokemon. But he never treats them like his Pokemon. Let's see, Caterpie, Dugong, okay. Another issue with this goal is Project Mew invalidates his need to catch every single Pokemon. If he just used the few mons we know he brings in a lot of development, then he'd be much better. Chaser, and they would get more screen time without taking away from other characters. I still want his Scatterbug to be a Pokeball pattern Vivillon, but I live in Copium, I guess. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot he caught a Scatterbug. I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot he even... Yep, see? Charizard said it right after. God, I almost forgot about Flygon. See, no, but this is perfect. Look how I keep reading all of these and people keep saying the same goddamn thing over and over. I forgot he caught this. I forgot he caught that. You should never have so many levels of forgetfulness when it comes to a character trying to reach their goal. That is terrible writing and not excusable in any other situation. Imagine if you watched Dragon Ball and you were like, shit, I forgot that Goku even fought Raccoon. Damn, I forgot that Goku even fought Frieza. Oh shit, he fought Cell? How shitty is that? That out of this entire man's goal in order to obtain every Pokemon, a goal that we hear more than once, and we can't even remember his progress. That is terrible. That is awful. I would hate that if I said my goal was to be great at, I don't know, running, And I'm going to every track meet and I'm scoring my times and I'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't do that well last summer. I didn't even know you ran last summer. How fucked up would that be? How fucked up is it that if your goal is to do something, people can't even remember you doing it? Besides Cubone, Go has Hitmonchan. I forgot he got the damn Hitmonchan. He got that Hitmonchan during the whole B episode, I think. And Parasack, but they'd never be like Chris's. If Go had Absol 24/7, we would never. He caught Absol! Dude, I forget he has an Absol. He never uses it. He never uses it. If Go had Absol 24/7, we'd never have plots because he'd be walking danger parameters. At this point, I'm surprised Absol isn't just standing next to Grookey permanently. Or maybe Absol will become paranoid by being nearby Ash all the time. The danger magnet himself. Gosh, Absol would be for a trip. I remember when Reboot was interested in Viscaz's fight. Oh yeah, that plot element where Reboot was interested in Pokemon battles that they immediately just drop. They don't do anything with it. Go doesn't even take into account what his Pokemon wants. And then when he finally does, it has to be focused on as like an episode that he should have been new or something. Like, for example, Ash has to sit up there and tell him, yo, what do your Pokemon want? These were lessons that Ash kind of had to learn for himself. Missy and Brock would chime in on occasions, but he would do what's best for his Pokemon. We never run into that situation. We never run into a situation. Bro, this man wants to fill up the Pokedex, and we have not run into a situation where let's say Go needs to evolve one of his Pokemon in order to fill up that entry in the Pokedex, right? Perfect concept. Any person who, any player of the game who openly tries to fill up their Pokedex, like a person who's going out of their way to fill up their Pokedex, would know immediately, oh, okay, instead of capturing a Pokeball and wasting a Pokeball, I can just have my Pokemon evolve into the Pokemon to fill up that Pokedex entry. But the anime plays with the idea that Pokemon have choices. So what do you do if, let's say, Go wants to evolve one of his Pokemon to fill up the Pokedex, but the Pokemon doesn't want to evolve? Show never tackles that issue. Never does. Perfect plot for somebody trying to fill up a Pokedex. They don't even do it. Not even a glance at the idea. Could have used that as the springboard for you to be a better trainer, because Ash is also good because he understands his Pokemon and thus can bring out their full potential, especially after he learned Ash was a champion. Let's see, I'm reading a lot of these. Sorry about that. Let Bianca meet Koharu. That'd be good. Unova replied. Okay. His trials are like, okay, yeah, we saw that. Go should be meeting rangers from games so that he could grow more to understand why he catches Pokemon beyond Mew. He treats Mons like trophies. He occasionally comes to polish, and then when they have a hard time, he does not confront it and tries to help them beyond the drizzle thing. And does not try to help them beyond the drizzle thing. Everyone in Mons solves the problems for him. There's a lot of Pokemon I forgot he has. I haven't seen Absol since the episode it appeared. Phantom would be a perfect since it requires trading. Yeah. Again, like, this is... I see. I get it. They wanted to really promote the Pokemon Go games. Like, at its core, even Boldor, he can trade his Boldor with Ashes or something. Oh, to make 2 Gigalith. I get it. I really do. I honestly get it. They wanted to promote Pokemon Go. And this was around the time that Sword and Shield was out and Pokemon Go was reaching a lot of popularity. And traditionally, you catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go by literally just throwing a Pokeball at them. I get that. Perfectly fine. They even try to do an episode where they do all of this at once, and it wasn't really well received. I honestly thought it was okay because, again, he's at least doing his goal. We can see it. We can be somewhat invested in it. It's very clear that he's going out to do what he said he was going to do. So we at least see the progress on the board. We see it on the page. My issue with this, though, is that when you do this, You never, like, you gotta run into some type of conflicts that an audience member can relate to. For example, in Pokemon, when Ash fights against the gym leaders, Ash loses against Whitney in one of the gyms. The reason that works so well is because everybody's lost against fucking Whitney at one point. Some people got lucky and probably beat her on their first try. But for a majority, Whitney is notorious for winning, for beating people in the gym battles. That is like a thing we can all relate to. We all get it. And when you're making a show based off of a game, you might want to add some game elements in. Even when it comes to trading card games or other type of games, you gotta add in those little things that help the player or audience member relate so that they can be more heavily invested in how the things will play out, how these characters would approach it. Yu-Gi-Oh!, for as many rules as it breaks, still at least found the fundamental concept of joining a tournament, meeting other people in the tournament, trading cards, developing strategies. All of these things are implemented in Duelist Kingdom and Battle City. And that's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's one of the reasons I like the original series a lot, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Plays with these ideas. There's even an episode where he hangs out with Taya and sees that they're selling booster packs. So he buys booster packs, and later he adds those cards to his deck later in Battle City. We can see it. We see that happen. These are things we see take place. And it allows us to be invested. With Go, you have a character who wants to capture Pokemon. So that leads to a plethora of ideas. Have Go try to capture a Pokemon with a Pokeball, and obviously it fails, so he needs to use a better Pokeball. So then he winds up using a Great Ball. It doesn't work. Then he uses an Ultra Ball, and it doesn't work. And then he gets frustrated and throws out a Pokeball or whatever, and weirdly the Pokeball works again just because that's just how shit happens sometimes. Or he caught the Pokemon off guard, and thus was able to catch it. Silly shit. Abra is notoriously problematic for people who want to complete their Pokedex. Why? Because if you fail to capture it in that one turn, it teleports. Perfect. Use that. Have Go be in that situation. To the point where every time he tries to throw a Pokeball, it teleports. He goes to another area, it teleports. Professor Sakuragi says he's able to track Abra's location using some computer and cameras nearby the area, and Ash and Go have to jump back and forth, and we get this silly montage of them trying to find Abra, and we get like a whole little silly thing about it. And then he gets frustrated. He gets mad. He gets tired out. Ash has Gengar, and he battles a trainer, and let's say it's a PWC battle. And one of the trainers does like a cheap trick where they keep switching out their Pokemon, and it causes problems for Ash and Gengar. Ash tells Gengar to use Mean Look as a counter. Now the trainer can't switch out. And then it pops. Wait a minute. Ash, what did you just do? Well, Gengar knows Mean Look, so I had him stop leaving. That's what we do! Miss Drevis, Mean Look, bam, stops it. Abra can't escape, captures it, boom. Perfect! Dovetails perfectly. And then that would tell people who watch the show, oh, that's how I catch Abra. Use a ghost Pokemon. Use Mean Look. It can't escape. I can catch it. There you go. If you want, it doesn't even have to be. No, I like my idea better, Kuro. But if you don't want to copy Chris, let that be Natu when it teleports. PP is out and he'll just fly away. Yeah, I like my idea better. It tackles an issue that happens more in the games. Natu doesn't happen as often. Everybody knows Abra. Everybody can relate to Abra. Everybody is familiar with the Abra situation. The Abra situation is no stranger to anyone. The shiny episode that they introduced with Go is shitty. I completely forgot that he had a shiny Voltorb until I just remembered it. Like right now, as we're speaking. Have a situation where Go's looking for a shiny Pokemon, but unfortunately the shiny Pokemon he winds up finding it looks the exact same as it's normal, so he passes it up every time. But only to realize later that it's a shiny. And then he catches it. Like, dude, I can't believe we're this far in a show that presses so hard to bring characters back. Because I say this every time. I'm like, this character doesn't need to come back. This character doesn't need to come back. And then people always counter me with the same dumbass argument. Pokemon's supposed to bring characters back. Pokemon Journeys is the series that brings characters back. That's what they're supposed to do. It's a fan love letter to the series. Like, they press that so much. They press that extremely hard that this series is supposed to be the love letter. This is the love letter, people, to the Pokemon series, yet they added new characters to it. So if they're pressing for these characters to come back so badly, then why not bring Kurt? Kurt. If you don't know, if you go to Azalea Town, then Kurt is the person there that makes specialized Pokeballs for specialized situations. Fastball to capture Pokemon that run away. Love Ball in order to make some Pokemon like you more. Love Ball to make it so you can capture Pokemon the opposite gender of the Pokemon that you caught. The Pokemon you have. Heavy Ball to capture heavier Pokemon, which would have been an awesome Pokeball for Golrock to be caught in, and I'm pissed as hell that he wasn't caught in it. He was caught in a funky ass Pokeball. You got all these different, you got net balls. It baffles me to this day that Ash and Go have not visited the Pokeball factory yet. The Pokeball factory, that thing that makes all the different Pokeballs. But no, they gotta have Go use the same damn Pokeball all the time. You want to know why? Because the artists don't want to fucking draw any other Pokeballs. Because it would be a chore. Because they're afraid of actually implementing some nice flavor to their universe, their setting. And if you want to just say, oh, well, they're following Pokemon Go logic and you only use 3 Pokeballs in that. Well, technically 4. You use the Premier Ball too, I think. No, you don't use the Premier Ball. I think you just use the Pokeball, the Great Ball, and the Ultra Ball. My point being, if they want to even do that, the argument could be well said that, okay, fine. Well, what about the berries? I have not seen Go use a single citrus berry. I've not seen him use any other, a pineapple berry. I haven't seen him use any berries in order to help attract a Pokemon to help them catch. That's the rules of Pokemon Go. If you want to, because Pokemon Go's rules are no different for real than the Safari Zone, minus the you throwing rocks at them, or mud in Diamond and Pearl's case. You just feed the Pokemon. You use the citrus berry to make it easier to catch. You use the nana berry to keep them around longer so they won't run away. You use the other berry, I can't remember what his name is right now, but it makes them like stunned and confused so they won't attack a lot or get aggressive. Yeah, you got different berries, yet for some reason we haven't even explored the berry element. Go hasn't even stopped to visit the guy who makes berries. Yeah, we never see berries, incense, lures, modules. We never see, we barely see raid points. I think we've only had about 4 raid battles in this entirety of this series. Arnica, if we're going backwards, no, if we're going forwards, it'd be Lugia's raid battle, Golrook's raid battle, Zapdos's, and Articuno's. I think those are, maybe, if you want to push it, maybe Moltres with Ash, Go, and Gary. So 5. We've had about 5 raid battles in this entirety of this series. I might be missing one, but I don't know what it is right now. My point being is that you want to advertise a game and you're not even doing a good job at that. Everything that comes down to Go comes down of nothing but pure potential. I think that when people say they like Go, I don't think they actually like Go. I think they like the idea of what Go has to offer. Which is absolutely fine. You can love a character for nothing more than their potential alone. I like Yamcha from Dragon Ball Z. I know that the series keeps shitting on him, but I like the idea of Yamcha. I like the idea of the everyman, and I like the idea of someone who uses like the Wolf Fang Fist and plays around with an energy ball that he can control manually, because we don't get a lot of characters that do stuff like that. I like his idea and his concept, but that doesn't mean that the show's going to use him in the way that I imagine them using him. That's what I think it comes down to. Whenever I hear someone on Twitter say they like Go, it's usually for some up in the air reason that's kind of vague. It's like, oh, he's developed so much during the series. Yes and no. He's developed to me in the sense of how you put a piece of fruit on your table and then not touch it for over 72 days straight. It's developed. It's changed. Yes, it's changed because time's passed. That's it. We've seen Go a lot. So it's changed. Like a rotting vegetable or fruit. But it's definitely gone through some development. What's up, Two Stephanie? That's a cool name. Two-Step Tony. What's up, Two-Step Tony? I like Two Stephanie too, though. Anyway, Two-Step Tony. Anyone else want Go to use his Dynamax band again? It might have give it away. It's slow change. Yeah, he gets I completely forgot he could Dynamax. I didn't even think about it. Because there's so many situations he could have done it. And as of now, none of them make sense. The analogy of the fruit is funny. Thank you. I try every day. But anyway, so goes rotten fruit. I mean, kinda. It's more horizontal than gradual. Yeah. Advertise Sword and Shield. Only use 4 gym leaders and Marnie and call it a day. Journeys. Why? I really want to say that this show probably went into the best intentions when it came to tackling Sword and Shield and Pokemon Go. Honestly, I would even argue to believe that it was probably just going to be about Sword and Shield and Pokemon Go. I would even go off as to say that they were probably, the idea here was solid, and where they wanted to make a show where that probably took place in Galar, but have Go capture every Pokemon progressively, so they would occasionally go from Galar to other regions. But they realized real quickly how it would be much easier to root from Kanto, since Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee came out recently too. So they probably wanted to use that as the springboard as well, and it was a lot easier to relate to the kids, basing itself off an area that took place in Kanto, which is technically where the last game was. I'd even argue that because of all of that, we ran into another situation where when the potential for Go to capture every Pokemon was there for him to get Mew, they didn't plan on him capturing every Pokemon per se, but at least have him have a plethora of Pokemon that he could catch that we could see some progression on and then work it out in some way, shape, or form to where it gradually leads to Mew. I'm not even saying that capturing every Pokemon is absolutely necessary as a plot point in order to keep the progression going, and it's very clear that they realized how daunting the task was, which is what I said on one of my recent tweets that a lot of people agreed on. I don't even have a problem with the plot changing midway through. Plots have done that shit all the time. Sometimes something comes around and changes the direction of what the character wants, his motivations. A character could realize that they wanted to go avenge their father, so they go off on a journey in order to kill the man who killed their father. But during the journey, they start learning about apathy and living and let live and all those things like that. So when the character winds up in the final battle to kill the person who killed his father, towards the end, he's about to do it, but then he realizes how upset that would make somebody else. Maybe the villain that killed his father has a child of his own. So then he doesn't do it, and he winds up going off in order to travel somewhere else because he gained more out of his journey than he gained out of his destination. The journey could probably not just be to kill someone that killed his father, but just to find enlightenment, to learn the things that his father couldn't teach him because his life was cut short. I get that. I'm not dumb. I got the point. The point is that some things can change. And Pokemon has done that before. In the series, we've seen that certain characters will go a certain direction and then realize they want to do something else much later on. Even now, Pokemon Journeys is using Koharu as a character who isn't quite solid on what she wants to do, so she tries other things out. The journey for her is finding a journey. So yeah, I'm not against the idea that Go drops his plans to capture every Pokemon. I would expect him to treat his other Pokemon that he's already caught with more care because of it, since he's now having to utilize these Pokemon in utilitarian ways via Project Mew. But the problem is that this transition of Project Mew comes so out of left field, and then when it finally does come in and rear its ugly head, we expect Go to use his Pokemon effectively. But we refuse to believe that he can use his Pokemon effectively because he uses the same 3 every time. Or not even the same 3, the same 2. Inteleon and Cinderace, because they're the only ones that can really capably battle. The rest of his Pokemon just sort of are there, and it's mostly because he barely has any experience with them. And then when he finally does use them, they usually perform their one task and leave. If I had to spitball it, one of the biggest things that I feel was potential for Go was that him capturing a bunch of Pokemon was a cover-up. Like, in reality, he didn't really want to capture a lot of Pokemon in order to pursue Mew. He wanted to capture a lot of Pokemon to validate to himself that he can get friends. The longest issue that Go has had is with his social anxiety when dealing with other people. People. Well, except when the show decides not to have him do that. But his main issue or conflict that they introduce with Go is that he doesn't get along with others. Other people are usually who he pushes away in pursuit of Pokemon. He's capturing the Pokemon in order to fill that void. The void of loneliness. I don't need friends. I can capture my friends. I can capture any Pokemon I want because I can catch all these Pokemon and make them my friends. They get caught and thus they are mine. That skips the whole introduction phase. That skips the whole social gathering phase. That skips the social interaction phase of making friends. Interaction. Acquaintedness. He can skip all that by capturing Pokemon that are pretty much obligated to be his friends. But he bites for more than he bargains for. But he bites for more than he bargains for because he winds up catching Pokemon that have their own expressive personalities. Go believes that he can just capture Pokemon and automatically make them his friend, and for a while it works. But then the Pokemon start having their own varying personalities. Reboot doesn't want to listen to Go. Certain Pokemon fall asleep when they don't want to battle. Some Pokemon just don't want to deal with Go period because he hasn't proven himself a good enough trainer. Some Pokemon, like Suicune, are legendary Pokemon that do get caught in order to escape from being imprisoned by these bandits, but they won't listen to Go because they're not obligated to listen to Go. They were nothing more than a means of escape, and Go hasn't earned enough of their respect in order for them to want to be a part of his crew. Go's shortcut plan has failed. He has allegedly become a failure at this point. He's realized that just catching Pokemon isn't going to do the trick. There is no easy way to get what you want. That's the plot. That's the story. But unfortunately, the story doesn't tell that. And none of it's given to us at all because that's not the direction they're going. That's the direction I thought up. That's the direction I used in order to validate all of Go's moves up to this point. The show's never tackled them, even in opportunities where they have tackled them. For example, they have tried to tackle them. Like, for example, Alistair. Alistair is a very self-to-himself character and a perfect character for Go to interact with. They even have a scene that sets itself up perfectly. They wind up the ball, the bat's right there, but when it comes, it's a swing and a miss. Ash goes to sleep, along with Gengar and Pikachu, while the soup's getting ready. This is Go's opportunity right now to talk with Alistair about the fact that Pokemon in and of themselves are people that are Pokemon or can get along with you more than people, but it's their bond that allows them to speak closer with those Pokemon, understand them, and by proxy, you'll meet other people like Ash, cuts the camera to him while he's sleeping, and then cuts back, who understand Pokemon and love people as well. If you get that level of connection, then you too can be much like him, a trainer that loves all Pokemon and people. But you can't do that if you veer off into another direction and only go for what you want. The show barely tackles it. It does it very lightly with Drizzile and then just sort of leaves it alone. And never again is his social anxieties tackled. Now, Pokemon doesn't get psychological a lot. It's freaking Pokemon, for Christ's sakes. The highest I think they've gotten is maybe with Lily or movie characters that are afraid of Pokemon or something like that. But they never really get in depth with it because, again, primary shows for kids. But when they do a phenomenal job of doing it. So this is why I'm so critical on him, is because it baffles me how in the world they're not able to do it with this character for a long-running series versus the few episodes that they do it in other series, or a movie where they can do it. Or they do it several times in movies. I'm not expecting them to go all freaking Persona 5 writing on it. I'm not expecting them to go deep levels of college literature writing on it. What I am expecting, though, is that if you brought this to the table, you brought the idea to me, and you're going to introduce it like that, and for other people to have the main criticism that Ghost character is a great character because of this, that, and the other, then I expect to be presented with this, that, and the other. It baffles me to this day why they don't do that. It almost feels like every time they got closer and closer to it, they realized how heavy this writing would have had to be, and they stepped away from it. Even in recent episodes, if you don't count the recent mission episode that he did, which I did praise, by the way, at the very end for Go wanting Tokyo to become wanting Tokyo to complete the mission versus him just giving up, which I praised Go for that. But at this point, we're 111 episodes in, and this is Tokyo's third appearance in the series, not even counting the second time he showed up in the Articuno episode, or the bit of time that he showed up in the Celebi episode. We've seen this boy about 3 good times at best in 111 episodes. And this is supposed to be somebody that Go had a childhood friendship with, who's never really mentioned before the Celebi episode, and is only brought here at this moment. And the show now decides that it wants to increase his character. But at this point, it's hard for me to give a rat's ass because we've spent so much time not doing that. What we've instead spent time on is developing Ash's character, or to the very least putting the spotlight or reminiscing on old shit that Ash has done. Characters praise Ash, characters revisit Ash, Ash revisits characters, sees old Pokemon, sees all these old things that have nothing to do with Go and the grand scheme of things, and Go just sits there in the background, standing there. He interacts with a couple of traveling companions that Ash has been with 1 or 2 times, but outside of that, he is white noise in the grand plot that is Ash's reminiscent days. And again, we go back to that argument. Well, this is supposed to be the series that says that it wants to go back on Ash's old journeys. And it's supposed to reminisce on Ash's old things. And it's supposed to be a love letter to the fans because the fans deserve this and yada, yada, yada. But then you introduce Go. And you expect me to care about this character. You expect me to be invested. You expect me to be absorbed in this character. What are you going to do when we move on some other series? Are there going to be people that expect Go to come back? Are there any people that are going to care that he comes back? Not really. And to do what? Most of the time, people have been wishing mostly that Ash's older friends come back. The best episodes I've seen that people receive well are the ones that have nothing to do with Go. Little to nothing to do with him. Not a goddamn thing. So on one spectrum, I see that a lot of people praise like the series for tapping into that nostalgia. But then Go gets sacrificed as a character. Even in the most recent episode, Go didn't need to be there. He didn't need to be there. Didn't need to be there at all. That episode had nothing to do with him. He was unimportant in the grand scheme of that episode. He was background noise. He wasn't important in the freaking episode where he fought Drosna. He was just sitting, spectating. Most of Go's appearances have been him, spectating, oohing and on at how good Ash is. Praising him. Dare I say it? Dare I say it? It would have been cool if Go had even tried to enter the PWC. Anybody can enter, right? He doesn't need to be in the Masters 8. He doesn't. It would have been cool if like Ash and Go just decide to have a battle with each other. Just to have one. Just to play around with the idea of doing it. And when Ash beats Go, Ash goes up to like super class or whatever. I don't fucking know. Just he goes up a class to kind of like stamp that moment in their friendship. And that would tell Go it's okay to lose. It's okay to battle to your hardest. It's the battle itself is what's important. The results are important too, but it's your Pokemon's growth during the battle. Then maybe in the battle, let's for the sake of them being able to customize it, let's say in the PWC you can customize it. Let's say it's a 3v3, a solid 3v3 battle with Ash's Pokemon versus Go's. Go's Pokemon, like while they're fighting, learn new moves, they evolve. You can clearly see he leaves this battle differently than when he came into the battle. And at that point, Go is happy. He lost, but he's happy he grew closer to his Pokemon. Because at this point, you got to ask the major question. What is Go catching his Pokemon for? To figure out more about Mew? Well, yeah, here's the issue with that, though. And I'll point this out. In Pokemon Origins, which I'm sure most of you all have seen, Red makes it very clear that one of the goals he wants to do is complete the Pokedex for Professor Oak. And he tries to do that. He goes to capture a lot of Pokemon. And it's there that he ends up meeting with Blue. When he fights with Blue, he loses. In his depression, Brock shows up and teaches him, like a gym leader should. And at that point, he teaches Red how to use his Pokemon effectively. Don't just use one Pokemon and hope to barrel your way through. You have a team. Use the team. Make the team work. Have them all work together. Once Red learns this, he then proceeds to capture a lot of Pokemon. Still, when he does this, he ends up learning, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. I need to be better at battling so that I can capture stronger Pokemon, so that I can build a bigger team, so that I can fight stronger trainers, so that I can catch the stronger Pokemon. What are we getting out of this? It means that Go's journey to capture every Pokemon needs the assistance of him having stronger Pokemon. But in order to get stronger Pokemon, he needs to battle weaker Pokemon and make them stronger to fight stronger Pokemon to capture them. And then when he captures the stronger Pokemon, eventually this will all lead up to him capturing legendaries. Now, I'll tackle legendaries in a bit because we talked about it briefly and grazed over it. And I said there was two major points that get in the way of Go's overall goal, at least from video game to anime. And now we're going to tackle the other anime thing again. But first, let me read these comments. You'd think they'd play with this Koharu growing not to like Go anymore because of his anxiety, only for his time with Ash to wake him up over the course of the series, since she is essentially his one genuine friend prior to Ash. It's more immersive when you consider that Alistair is a shield-only character, so it ties in perfectly with Go pairing up with Zamazenta. Cue Sinnoh plug by giving Go a Duskstone for Mischievous. For me, that anime explored character psychologies are interesting. Still, the whole Sabo evolution thing they did in Journeys is still so dumb. Keeping the lizard in a cave sad. The two rivals Go meets at least trials should have been here since the beginning. The sound effect. If anything, Ash's presence is just hindering a moot point. Imagine Iris meeting Go and Koharu without Ash present. Sadly, Ash feels like a spectator in his own show. Go will get the max treatment. It's honestly the best they can do for him because he's just mishandled so hard. Visquez's Electrode would have requested battle to Go's shiny Electrode or Voltorb, and Surge would be watching. I can imagine Go's Raichu having a moveset the opposite of her personality. Brutal, swing, Thunder Punch, play rough, slam. Who would have guessed that leveling was that simple in the narrative?